Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Two Idiots Reading Comics. This week's episode 57, Vader Down. As always, thank you for joining us. And again, go subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go subscribe to YouTube. Hit that notification button so that you can get notifications whenever our episodes air. And again, share us with your friends and family and anyone else that's interested in comics or wants to hear two idiots talk about comics. And all right, let's get into it.
And welcome to the best damn book club on the internet. This is episode 57. Vader Down. My name's Ryan Talmadge, and that's Davis Crocker.
And we're in New Digs.
Yeah. Shout out to your wife.
Woohoo!
She doesn't want her name said.
She has graced us with being able to come inside
and do the
have
air conditioning.
Because we live in Alabama and it's hotter than a witch's tit. It's colder than a witch's tit. What is it? Hotter than a...
I've never heard that phrase before.
Yeah, we're going to cut that part out. Either way.
I'm leaving that in. I've never heard of witch's tit before.
It's colder than a witch's tit. It's hotter than a... Either way.
It's probably something racist. But...
It's not. It's not.
But yeah, new setup, possibly permanent, or at least across the hall.
Yeah.
Maybe.
This is going to kind of be our new setup for a little while. We'll get
until she gets
tired of us and kicks us back out into the garage again.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Yeah. Hopefully it's not too echoey in here. How have you been?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Work's about to get picked back up. Came back off vacation. Great time at the beach. And
who takes vacations? Who can afford to take vacations?
Some of us that work our asses off and save up a tad bit of money. You were invited, and you denied to come. So
I don't want to drive down for like one full day at the beach. That's ridiculous.
You've got vacation days?
Yeah, but I don't have vacation money.
Yeah, I understand.
And, I don't know. I'm not a big beach guy.
Oh, man, I love the beach.
But I'm going to go ahead and say this now. I've worked 100 hours in the past 13 days, and that's why I didn't write down any of the authors.
Sure.
Colorlists and artists and stuff like that. But I guess this is enough rambling on. We need to get into what we're reading today.
Yes.
Davis finally convinced me to go back to Star Wars.
Since month one?
It was continuous, though.
It was a continuous. So we took a break. I mean,
we did like 3 or 4 in a row. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Well, I'm pulling up the artists and everything because there was a crap ton.
Oh, yes. This was split between... if all you did was get the collective version, this was a mashup between the actual Vader series and the Star Wars series.
Yeah.
To combine to make Vader Down.
So you're looking at Vader Down's the story was by Jason Aaron and Kieran Gillen. The Star Wars Vader Down, which kind of kicked off this whole series, was written by Jason Aaron, artist Mike Deodato, colorist Frank Martin Jr., letterer VC's Joe Caramagna. Then this crossed over with Darth Vader 13 through 15, which was writer Kieran Gillen, artist Salvador LaRocca, colorist Edgar Delgado, letterer VC's Joe Caramagna. With also Star Wars number 13 through 14, writer Jason Aaron, artist Mike Deodato, colorist Frank Martin Jr., and letterer Chris Eliopoulos. And then a whole bunch of cover art. Yeah. It's a long list.
Sorry for the people watching on YouTube. I just got distracted by Davis's college graduation picture. We can't show because his wife's on there and she doesn't want to be on the internet. But he looks goofy as hell.
We always look goofy. We all look goofy in those things.
That's true.
No one looks good in graduation attire and those gowns and stuff.
There were some good-looking girls there.
No comment.
Yeah, true. But that's why I got distracted. I saw Davis's goofy cap and gown picture.
I just saw my hot ass over there.
Oh, well, that just got weird. So I meant to bring this up to you beforehand, but I think a new thing I want to try to do is like right at the top whenever we start talking about the book, we do like a quick what's your first take on it? What did you think worked? What didn't work and stuff like that? Because then it'd be easier to get clips to put on social media.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give mine because you're the Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I mean,
So I'm gonna go first.
I mean, this is probably the most notes I've written on a Star Wars on a book since we started doing this. So
okay, well I wrote none, but
I know you.
I know.
Damn slackers.
I know some takes I had. First off, I don't know how they do this, but every Star Wars book has the same art style,
Yes.
and I don't know. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the art style, but how they found this many artists to do that style is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
And it's consistent, which is also a nice thing for readers. I know you showed me one panel that you were not a fan of. Some face that Leia made.
Yeah, I've had an issue with the way, even since Star Wars was restarted with Disney, the comic books is so you've got your three iconics, Han, Leia, and Luke, and everyone else's faces look normal. Like you can tell they were drawn in a certain way. There's a little shading. There's features. Well, it seems like Luke, Leia, and Han, whether the artists don't want to commit to copying their faces from real life, or they're scared. I don't know, but it just looks like
faces
out of all the detail there is.
But
you can do other people's faces well, and then you slack off on the three main characters.
When you're doing semi-photorealistic of very specific actors, it could be super hard.
Then I don't know.
Who else? What other characters are in there that you can know their faces right off the bat?
Well, Vader's a helmet, and it's just a helmet. There's no facial features.
It's a lot of straight lines,
right?
Also, so.
And then the rest of them are either aliens or characters that have been made for the show. But yeah, just like you were saying on the artist, I mean, all three of these, the Vader Down, Darth Vader 13 through 15, and Star Wars 13 and 14, all three different artists, all three different colorists. Well, I'm sorry, the colorist is the same in Vader Down and Star Wars, and then the letterer is the same in Vader Down and Vader, and different in Star Wars. Yeah. So I mean, it's not the same people, which is very crazy.
Yeah. But so that was kind of crazy how they find all these artists to do the same style. I guess I enjoyed the book. It was, it's like, you know how people will say, or more recently have come to the opinion of, they like TV more than movies because you get more time with the characters and you get to know them better. That's the same thing for like comic books and stuff like that. Like I'm getting to know these characters more. But when I look at this story, nothing important kind of happens. Other than them, it seems like a big setup of, oh, hey, the Emperor told Vader to kill the guy who blew up the Death Star, and Vader can kind of tell. Well, I mean, he knows his name. He knows Luke Skywalker.
Boba
so
Fett.
He knows.
Going into this, the last issue going into this of the Vader series is Vader sent out bounty hunters to find the name of the pilot who took out the Death Star. Boba Fett comes back to him and he says the boy's name is Luke. Yeah. And then Vader goes, "What's his last?" And Boba goes, "Skywalker." Yeah. And then Vader just kind of stares at Boba. They hand him his money. Boba Fett walks out, and then Vader turns around, looks out the viewport, and cracks it because he's mad. Because that's the first time he finds out he has a son. Yeah, is when Boba tells him
he knew she was pregnant, right?
Right,
but he thought they were dead.
Palpatine tells him both that the child died. They didn't even know it was twins. Okay, so when he turns and looks out the viewport, he cracks the windshield. He cracks the viewport because he's mad because he knows Palpatine's now lied to him. Yeah, and then he has a son. And then now it's he
has to go
he
kill
now
his
has
son.
the dilemma of, okay, kill my son loyal to Palpatine, or flip my son
Yeah.
and be rulers of the world.
Yeah.
Universe, not world, you damn universe.
But it's like it sets that up, and then sets this weird little thing up with Luke, where he wanted to go to that Jedi temple but couldn't.
Yes,
He was a little upset.
that's a whole nother story in the Star Wars universe.
But the actual events of this is kind of they all kind of were on the same planet at the same time, and a couple of them saw each other.
I mean,
nothing super important happened in this story.
So,
but I've heard the name. I've heard the name Vader Down like it was an awesome story, which it was pretty good. I was entertained. But I was like, nothing important really happened in that.
So you got any other takes for? Because I got my.
I wasn't like a super big fan of like the basically the evil version of C-3PO, R2-D2, and Chewbacca. That just seemed kind of like cheesy.
It's starting up the Dr. Aphra arc. This is what started her own comic. New character introduced in the world. She's an archaeologist that runs around the universe finding ancient artifacts that are usually deadly and awful, and same time kind of a bounty hunter.
Okay.
And so Vader gave her the C-3PO lookalike, which was 000, and the R2 lookalike, which was BT. Both, well, the 000 was created in what's called the Tarkin Initiative to create droids that could be hidden that are also sadistic, crazy blood machines.
Okay.
And so which then created the R2 unit that also could hide in plain sight and then also just destroy everything by itself. Yeah. But yes, it does. It is.
It was a little cheesy.
It is cheesy. And then using.
And normally I love C-3PO's he's either a negative Nancy or he's endlessly optimistic.
Yeah.
But every time he chimes in, it's like kind of funny. But with this, whatever black C-3PO, 000, I don't know. I found it kind of annoying.
It is odd.
But those were
you
my
would think
only
they would have created, kind of like in Rogue One where you had K2SO.
Yeah.
You had an actual Imperial droid
but they were
good.
I don't know. He was kind of a smart ass.
Well, yeah, but what I was going with is, why not try to find? You could have used any other droid template, and we went with literal alter ego of C-3PO and R2,
and then you get a black Wookiee,
black chrysanthemum.
Yeah,
chrysanthemum.
You get. It's kind of like super on the nose. But
the Wookiee to me was more being created to show that.
There's bad Wookiees too.
Yeah, because mainly anytime Wookiees are depicted is they're the good guys fighting for their family or fighting for their home world. Yeah. Where now they created this Wookiee that isn't enslaved, has made it to his own rights, and really loves to fuck shit up.
Okay.
That's the only way. Now that one I can see being created, but the other two, that you could have used any other droid template.
What's the Wookiee's name?
Black Chrysanthemum.
He seemed like he could actually be a cool character, but
in the Dr. Aphra arc, he's kind of he becomes the buddy to Aphra.
Makes sense.
Just like Chewie is to Han. So
but yeah, those were really my only complaints. I was entertained for the most part, but honestly, every time 000 talked, it took me out of the story.
It does. It's kind of like, to me, I'm not a big fan of C-3PO.
Oh, see, I love C-3PO.
See, I'm not because again, he's either
in the last movie where he said, "I just want to take a look," and the last movie where he said, "I just want to take one last look at my friends." Oh
yeah, because that was good. Now that one, I liked him in that, but just he's either negative Nancy, or when R2 actually does something, he either rips R2 for not doing it right, or he takes the credit for R2's
You're like a massive R2 fan, though.
I am R2. So I am R2.
I am R2. Okay.
But no, so kind of that whole idea of, I just kind of, anytime he get in that talk, I just move along.
Okay. And then just one last question before you go on this massive Star Wars rant. Who is this Admiral Ackbar looking motherfucker that looks like he stole Grievous's body?
He literally is.
And why the fuck does he have a purple lightsaber? That's bullshit.
It's a good question because I don't know why he
There's
has
only
purple
one
lightsaber.
purple lightsaber.
Well, there's not only one purple
And
lightsaber.
I like to believe he's not dead.
There's not only one purple lightsaber.
There's not?
No, the High Republic's introduced another one,
Uh-huh.
and
That's that new initiative they're doing, right?
yeah,
Okay.
which needs some work. It just, that's another story for another day.
Okay.
There's that purple, and then in the old Republic games, there's a bunch of purple sabers.
Okay.
But no, they never say that Mace is the only purple saber.
Okay.
He's just the first purple saber ever shown.
I got you.
And Samuel L. Jackson he wanted to be different, so
Yeah.
he wanted something of his own.
Okay.
Then they created a backstory to it, then created other sabers for it.
Okay. Well, then who is this Admiral Ackbar looking motherfucker that stole
So-
Grievous's body? Apparently.
This guy, his name is Commander Carbon.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he is Mon Calamari
Mm-hmm.
that has been cybernetically enhanced and is a great tactician
Okay.
and everything. And
They just couldn't be creative enough to come up with a different robot body.
again, they used a lot of parallels.
I mean, when he whips out four arms
Arms
or four
and
lightsabers.
sabers. Yeah, they didn't. So what I remember from it was he was created cybernetically enhanced, is a great tactician, a great commander, and of course, Palpatine always knows what Vader's doing,
Yeah.
regardless of what Vader tries to hide.
Mhm.
So Palpatine knows that there's this boy, and he's got an idea where he is, so he sends Carbon after him.
Yeah.
Well, Carbon's idea is he serves the Emperor, but he wants to be more. So
he says in his book he
Yeah.
wants to take Vader's spot,
right. So
which I don't think he has the Force, does he?
no, he doesn't. He's like Grievous. He's just
Okay.
attuned with how the Jedi arts are, so he can saber fight. But that's it.
Yeah.
So he sets up this whole trap on Frogos Voss.
Yeah.
He sets up the guy that gives the information to Afra, then Afra gives it to Vader. To Vader go on his own because he knew Vader would be by himself.
Mhm.
Runs into the Imperial force, hopefully that an entire Imperial armada and ground force can beat him, which they don't and can't.
Yeah.
So then Commander Carbon's group can just walk in, annihilate Vader on the spot, and
Which didn't
take
work.
Luke. Oh, of course.
Which
not.
was wild. Like
and take Luke
this
back to
I'll give this
the
book
Emperor, and then Carbon now becomes the right hand of the Father.
Yeah. I'll give this book one. Or I said it's good, so more than one compliment. But they made Vader. They did a real good job of making Vader just look like a complete badassness.
And where you were going with this didn't really add anything to the story arc.
Yeah.
It does,
Just
but
the
it
greater.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. Is again, we don't like crossovers as much.
Yeah. If you can keep them neat and clean, and I love them. But
This did a good job with the Vader and Star Wars arcs, where leading into this, Luke is learning to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
This is literally months after the Death Star destruction. So he's learning how to become a Jedi. So he needs to find these old Jedi temples, and he found Obi-Wan Kenobi's journal.
Yeah.
That kind of detailed some of the stuff that Luke needed to do. Go attune yourself to Jedi temples, and so that's what took him to Vrogos Voss. At the same time, Vader is searching for him. He's already ran into him, I think, once already. And when this is over, Vader turns his attention to kind of starting to undermine Palpatine at this time because of finding out what Carbon was there to do.
Yeah.
That Palpatine sent Carbon after him, not hoping that Carbon would kill him.
Yeah.
Palpatine's always testing Vader.
Yeah.
Always. If this guy beats you, then you don't deserve to be my apprentice. You beat him, all right, here's your next test.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Vader kind of turns, one, can I corrupt Luke to become my pupil?
Apprentice.
or first I've got to take down Palpatine quietly without him ever knowing. And so they kind of turns it leads to
But that's
places,
what the dark
but you
side
got
is all
to.
about. Isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, the apprentice
Like,
always
that's
kills the
always-
master.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the rule of two. You stay hidden, but yet at the same time, there's only one successor.
Yeah.
So either the master doesn't teach the apprentice anything, and you have a really shitty apprentice, and it's tough on the master, or the master teaches the apprentice a lot, just that the apprentice then thinks he knows enough to then kill the master.
Yeah.
And then teaches on, and the cycle just goes on and on. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But yes, I do agree that there wasn't a whole lot of forwardness, but yet the biggest thing for me in this Vader Down is the fact showing the power of Vader.
Oh yeah, they did an awesome job of that.
You don't, in the movies, you don't get to see much power. Again, those movies were made
Until
4, 5, and 6 was made in the 70s. So
what's that one?
Episode 3.
No, they made him look like a real badass in the one in between 3 and 4.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Oh
Rogue
yeah,
One.
when he did the scene. But
yeah, that scene is awesome.
But again, that was made in what, 2012, 13, 14?
Late,
Was it even that old?
Late teens.
So you've had the CGI,
I'm
you
getting
have the ability to do it. So the 4, 5, and 6 wasn't able to really convey Vader's power. So this was a good way to introduce and show in the comics that, look, Vader literally was taking gunships down by himself, destroying bombers, literally took on a Y bomber assault and walked away from it.
Yeah.
Crushed a space shuttle, crushed a shuttle as it's leaving with Luke, crashed it back to the Earth or to the planet. So, I mean, in this, you're looking at Vader's true raw power. And that isn't even a fraction of what he can do. Like, he's just, I mean, he's just raw, unadulterated power.
Yeah, that, you saw that in our continuous we did. I don't know. That one, Dark Lord of the Sith.
Yeah, that was right once he became Vader.
Yeah, and then they had, what's his face, Hunnam or whatever. That man, that general or admiral or whatever, he had Vader hunt him or something like that.
Tarkin. Yeah,
Tarkin. That made him look like a badass too.
Yeah. So you're always seeing Vader get tested, and then it doesn't really lead to anything, but at the same time it does.
I feel you.
But either way, I enjoy it.
So this story continues in like the two.
It sort of the whole idea of Luke wanting to be a Jedi and going after temples splits off.
I gotcha.
The Star Wars story did a good job with showing what Luke was doing to learn. But at the same time, because it is a Star Wars story, you've also got to show Leia and Han's stories.
Yeah.
And Chewie's stories. So what's hard about it, and now they're doing it after episode 5, is the fact that where Vader can focus on Vader, spend 25 issues or whatever, and deep dive into his stuff, it works. Where the Star Wars story, trying to focus on 3 main characters, having to give this person enough arc, Luke goes away, so then you do this arc, then you leave and go to Luke. It gets confusing. And also, it's kind of one of those hard things to read month to month is, okay, I'm reading about Leia this month. Okay, next month we're going to jump back to Luke. Then we might come back to Leia at the end of the story. Oh, and then we're going to jump to Han.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets a little wild. So this really just sets up, like Leia here, where she's, which I really get annoyed with, about how you're a princess, you really don't know how to, like, hand-to-hand fight.
Yeah.
She's always wanting to be in the front lines, getting shot at, getting sometimes in the way. And then...
Isn't that her character, though?
It's her character. I mean, that's exactly what her character is, but it can annoy the shit out of you when you're a commander.
Yeah.
You are literally the face of the rebellion.
She is Anakin Skywalker's kid.
Well, correct.
Yeah.
But she's not at this time. I mean...
Yeah, but if
she is the daughter of
I've watched
Anakin
a little
Skywalker,
bit of Clone Wars, and you can see it right there. Anakin Skywalker just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Right. So it does fit, and that is Leia's character to a T.
Yeah.
It just, you can tell that when you get in this kind of a shitstorm, Vader's literally walking around killing everyone.
Yeah.
Killing hundreds and hundreds of rebel fighters. And she thinks she's going to just step up there and do something. I mean, it just, that kind of sometimes aggravates me.
Right.
But in the future of the Star Wars arc that they were in, is it starts to show that she kind of pulls that back a little bit and actually needs to become the face of the rebellion.
Yeah.
To actually need to become a leader.
I guess you see that in a little bit in episode 7. Or more in 8.
Well, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And so that's really where her arc goes. And then Han, he's a smuggler. He doesn't give a shit, but yet he gives a shit, so he does what he wants. It's hard. His story arcs get a little weird.
Yeah.
But
well,
I mean,
we're running very close on time, so
Yeah.
I'll let you get your final thoughts out.
Again, just the whole raw power of Vader. One of his comments is when he first sees surrounded by the entire infantry of the planet, the men try to tell him to surrender. He says, "All right, surrender." And the men go, "Oh, well, that was easy." And then he goes, all I am surrounded by is fear and dead men."
Yeah.
And then just kills them all.
Yeah.
It just goes from shit face there. And that's just what, to me, that's Vader. Just raw, unadulterated power. And that's about the best part about this comic is...
Well, that's kind of scary because that's like your favorite fictional character ever.
Yeah. What?
I don't know what that says about you. But...
well, I definitely don't have raw, unadulterated power, so...
I was going to make a fat joke, but then I'm
No,
just as fat as you are.
Yeah.
But that will do it for this week, though.
Yeah.
Look out for Davis's future show of Davis Rambles About Star Wars coming soon. If you enjoyed that. Maybe one day. Who knows?
Maybe one day.
But next week, we have Batman Last Night on Earth.
Yes.
And then I guess that's kind of it for this week. So,
that's it for this week, yeah. I mean, I
know
can
you
sit here and
still
just keep going and going and going, but...
I looked at this and then I saw your face. I was like, we're super close to time. And
there's a point. I mean,
he has 2 more hours in him right now. If you want to talk Star Wars with Davis, just DM him on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to drop your Twitter handle or anything like that?
I actually don't even remember my Twitter handle.
Okay. Just Google Davis Crocker. Not very many.
I'm not the tennis player that's on there. When I was younger, you Google yourself, and it was this famous tennis player that was like our same age, and he was damn good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, not that guy.
Not that guy. Just hit me up on Two Idiots, and we can have a discussion and go from there.
But till then, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.